Hello.
Hi, Jorge.
Hello. Arjen, how are
Uh,
you?
all good here. All good.
Been
Yeah,
busy?
not so busy anymore.
No? That's
The
good.
last year has been crazy, but now it's all calmed down. So,
That's good.
uh, and you?
And I've been busy as always. I don't like to do
Okay.
anything other than busy.
Same here. Same here. Yeah,
I'm getting older, but instead of slowing down, I want to speed up because
I'm the same.
I cannot, if I sit on the couch watching telly or something, it's wasted
No.
time. And I rather do some work, like interviews or, transcribe interviews, do radio shows
Yeah.
instead of just sitting on a couch and doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, I can do it in the evening. Like when I'm eating dinner, I like to sit in a comfy chair and watch TV, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Let's talk about the Life Beneath the Waves show.
Yeah.
How was it? We talk every year almost about
Yeah.
these Aryan shows, but how was this one specifically? Because when you did the album, like most records until a few years ago, you didn't expect to play them live. But this one, because it's more complex,
Yeah.
more singers, more everything. I was, when did you realize that you were able to pull it off? Was that on the first day you played a live show?
No, 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 no. Well, the first rehearsal is always scary, You got all these complicated songs, and but by now I know they can do it. The musicians are so amazing, and of course we work on a show for more than a year, for 1.5 years. So there we leave nothing up to coincidence. Everything is rehearsed, everything till the last second is perfect. And the only scary thing always is the singers, because they only get one rehearsal. So the band rehearses for half a year in the studio, so that's all perfect. But then the singers have like one day before the tryout, before the dress rehearsal. So that's Thursday is the only rehearsal they have, only one day, and then Friday you have like the first show, So that's always scary, Is that going to work out? But we make a whole visual script. So we tell everyone exactly that's when you come on. That's where you are on stage. That's when you go off, and we have a couple of people on stage, who sends people to their places. So basically not much can go wrong, and it's all on the computer. Even the light show was on the computer now.
Okay, so
That's the first time we worked that way.
so it was already pre-programmed. So it's better than no one screws up a note or something.
No, if that happens, if everything is on the click and on the computer and someone screws up, then you're screwed.
Well,
Yeah.
fortunately, I don't think that happened on those shows. And does it still surprise you that you sell those shows in advance? As soon as you put tickets on sale, they sold out immediately. You have to add a couple more shows. Does it
Hmm.
still surprise you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Especially this time, because the whole COVID thing was in between. Everything was getting more expensive, and we were like, "Will people still come?" It was 3, 4 years ago, so we weren't sure. That's why we only said 3 shows because we really were not sure. Those 3 shows were gone, like you said, within 5 minutes. So we had to add a fourth show, which was gone 5 minutes later, So then we were like, oh my God, are we going to do 5 shows in 3 days, which is crazy,
Yeah.
which is hard work. So first we had to test all the musicians, ask them, is it okay, if we do a fifth show? Because that will mean you play in the afternoon and in the evening. And everyone was like, no problem. So
Yeah.
then we added the fifth show. But yeah, it still surprises me, really, that people come from all over the world, 65 countries, and it's truly amazing. I think I don't know any other artist who have a loyal fan base like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. And, you were talking about, having everything pre-planned. How much work it goes into, writing a script because we are used to normal rock shows where, a band
Yeah.
comes on stage and, whatever happens, it happens.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But,
No, we can't do that.
how long does it take, first of all, to write, let's say, the script for an Aryan show, especially for this one?
Well, with the first show, the Ayreon Universe in 2017, it took us 2 years to do the whole thing, and then with LUCASSEN live shows, it took us a bit less because we get better, and we know the people better, and we know which companies to work with, and we know the musicians better. So it's getting a bit faster every time, but setting a show up will always cost a year. It won't be less than a year. So yes, it is a lot of work, but it's fun to do. Because you know what the result will be. So maybe I even like working on the show better than the show itself.
You still have those, that
Yes.
feeling when you go on stage. It's like,
It's terrible.
yeah.
It's terrible, especially, this time with 01, we had 20 singers,
Yeah.
and all 20 singers are better than me, so that's terrible. I have to go on stage and like, oh my God, I'm terrible, and just before me there were the best singers in the world, and after me are the best singers in the world, and so yeah, for me that's very scary. But the moment I'm on stage and I look into the audience and I see the big smiles on people's faces, I'm like, okay, I can, even if I fuck up, they won't care.
They will excuse you anyway. I remember, when I was younger in school, we had theater plays, and
Oh yeah.
the stage fright that I had, it was to this day, I haven't gone, I cannot, I get
No.
that feeling, I remember vividly the panic it was to go on stage.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And if you're good at it, it's okay, because you want to go on stage and you want to show how good
Yeah.
you are. But if it's not really your speciality,
Yeah.
and it's awful.
It is, it wasn't, and I didn't have like a big part or anything. But the sweat after, when
Oh
I
yeah.
just went back, I was like, I had a freaking shower. I was like, what happened? why am I all watery? Just the
I
place is so
know.
wet. It's
I know
ridiculous.
it's awful,
Yeah.
and I've always had it. But at some point with the band Vengeance that I was in the 80s, we toured for 15 years, and then it gets into your system,
Yeah.
and then you're not nervous at all anymore. You will do a good job. You go on stage, but the weird thing is that the moment you're not nervous anymore, it wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah.
It's strange. I guess you need those nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah, preferably before you go on stage,
Yeah.
to really perform well. Because when I was not nervous anymore, I was feeling like an actor. I was there like totally emotionless. It didn't do anything to me. So a bit of nerves is good, but
Yeah.
like you say, a whole shower that might not be not so good.
And with this show coming out now in the middle of May, uh, every time we speak, when you start working on new music, you never know, if it's going to be Arjen, if it's going to be Star One, if it's going to be something else. Have you started working on new music yet?
Well, the thing is, the last year I did three things. I did work on the live show. Then I did the Plan 9 thing, which will be released together with the live show. And I did a third project, which is still secret.
Okay.
Only in 2 weeks it will be out, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's a solo album for someone. So I worked like crazy for a year, and now I'm empty. You know, your first question was, "Are you still busy?" No, it's I'm empty now. So that's shitty. You know, I grab the guitar and nothing comes, and so at this point, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's I always tell Lori there's nothing, and she always tells me you have this every couple of years, you know, and it always comes back, so don't worry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You just need a few days or a few weeks
Yeah,
until.
it will be a few weeks, yeah, a few
Yeah.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I would love to do is another solo album. That would be great because the last year I did stuff for other people. Like the Plan 9 album was for the Robert, for the singer. The live shows were for the audience. The solo album I'm doing for someone else was for this person. So I think it's about time I do something for myself, you know, maybe a solo album. But then I say that a lot, you know. I probably tell you every time this is what I'm going to do, and then
Yeah.
something else comes out. So
I think it's always something different that happens.
I know.
And, for 18 live shows, again, obviously you have, music wise, you said you have nothing yet, but for the live shows, are you still have anything in mind for, 2, 3 years time? Is there any plans, or you guys, don't want to think about it?
Yeah, no, we're secretly already thinking about it, and we definitely want to do something again in 2025. And we're talking about the plans. There's a lot of options. You know, will you do a best of, or will you do a whole album? And we're slowly coming with a plan. But of course, it's too early to talk about it yet. But yes, we're already working on it. Especially now that I have no inspiration, you know, I can already think about the next shows. So yeah, I've already got a lot of papers here, writing stuff down. So I'm already working on it.
Whatever you do next, Ayreon, you have to have Tommy Karavik on it. So have that in mind.
Yeah.
Every time he's on Ayreon or works with you, I always love, the stuff he does. Tommy's an amazing singer.
When I got his parts of the source, I was crying, and that doesn't happen often to me. Maybe it happened 3-4 times, but he couldn't come to my studio for the source, so he sent it to me, and everything I played was perfect, you know. Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, I promise you, next Ayreon, Tommy will be there.
Yeah. Happy to hear that.
It's a promise.
Yeah. And, let's talk about Plan 9, because it's something, it's a project, it's music that was done over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
How was to revisit those demos, listen to those songs, after so many years?
There were some surprises, and there were some really shitty songs. But there were some songs where I thought, like, okay, it's got something. It's not good enough, but it's got something. And if I work on it, and if I make a new arrangement, if I change the lyrics, if we re-record it, it will be something cool. So it was very satisfying, because those were 30-year-old ideas that never anything happened with it. So it was very satisfying for me to work on it and to give them a chance to live after all,
Yeah.
And also very satisfying because Robert, the singer, asked me to do it, Yeah. And he's an old friend. We've been friends for 30-40 years. So it was great to do this for him.
Yeah. And when you listen to those songs, you said like some shitty ideas anyway, but you always feel tempted to rearrange and rework over those old ideas.
Yeah. Some ideas were just, there was nothing good about it, so we didn't do anything with it. And actually, if you buy the digipack, it's got an extra CD with all the bonus tracks, and there you hear all the demos. We put everything on there, so the really shitty stuff is on there that we didn't use, and there's songs, basic ideas. Like the first video release, single release we had was Before the Morning Comes.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's a big hit on YouTube. You know, there's lots of views, and I'm very proud of that song. But if you hear the demo, it was really just an acoustic guitar and a voice, and it was called Life Goes On, a totally different title, and it was not there yet, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels good. You know, I've gotten better, luckily, in the last years. So I know how to make a song better, and that feels good.
Does that inspire you when you listen to, when you feel there's something on that song, it's not there yet, but you feel there is something, even if it's just like a melody or a vocal or a guitar melody, does that inspire you, I want to make something better out of this? Listening to that inspires you to work on the music?
Yeah, sometimes it does. Like with this song "Life Goes On," which turned into "Before the Morning Comes." It really inspired me, and it felt good to make it better.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I've gotten better now, so I know how to do it. But some songs I even tried, and it was like, no, this is not working. You know, this is not working. So, but it's a cool thing that you can hear all these songs now on the on the bonus disc. So,
and
but you may have to stick close to your skip button, because there's some stuff on there that's
but sometimes it's one of the things that fans are not aware. It's sometimes how much a song evolves.
Right.
And sometimes when you have like the rough first demo of a song, like the final, product might be completely different. But it is interesting to try to understand how a song that was full on the album started from something completely different.
Because I am not. People often say, you're a genius. I'm not. A genius writes a perfect song in one day. I cannot do that, I write the song and it's not very good, and I have to work on it for 2 weeks to make it better. But I'm really jealous of, say, a band like Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water. I think they had 1 hour left in the studio, and it was like, let's do something. And Blackmore was fucking around on his guitar, and the whole band played along. And in 1 hour, they wrote that song, and that's it. I could never do that. I'm really jealous of that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, but those were different times as well. I love to talk about the 70s bands, because they needed to be really true musicians and really good at playing their instruments and singing, because they didn't have the technology we have these days.
No, auto-tune back in those days.
They probably had like 4 tracks sometimes.
That's it. They had to record with the whole band and do some overdubs, and that was it.
And that's the amazing thing. And I think technology is great, but it in a way, it kind of shits you to not to be sometimes that good at playing an instrument, because you can fix it.
You can fix it all,
Yeah.
And that's how I get by in the studio, by fixing everything I do, because I'm not good at anything. I really need that technique to to make it better. But then, of course, in the end, I ask real musicians, who are better than me, to play it or to sing it. So that helps.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I think sometimes for me, with people, it's their lack of modesty, which is something that you're not afraid to speak about your limitations as a musician, and saying that, I ask people that can play better than me to make, the music come alive by playing it. And, sometimes we see people that they think they are, the amazing, and they're not.
Yeah. Well, it's People often think I'm humble, but I'm not, you know. I just, as you said just now, I know my limitations, but I also know what I'm good at,
Yeah.
you know, and what I'm good at is picking the right musicians and thinking like, okay, this singer, I can write perfect parts for this singer. I can make this singer shine, you know.
Yeah.
My goal is to make this singer sound better than in his own band, you know. That's the biggest compliment for me. So that's what I'm good at, you know. I see the big picture.
You're like a
And
maestro in a way.
sorry, like it?
You're like a maestro. You know,
Yeah,
the maestro, he knows, and he knows how to conduct and, get people and musicians in order to play.
yeah,
You're good
yeah.
at that. Not everybody,
I'm good at that. Yeah, yeah.
not everybody is good at telling
No,
people
no.
what to
So,
do.
yep, yep.
Because sometimes, I know a few bands you know, and the people having problems taking orders from others because they think they know better instead
Mm.
of just, okay, let's try it your way first.
Hmm.
Let's see if it works. And there's people who don't accept that.
No, but you have to learn that. I was the same. You know, the first the 80s, let's say the 80s and the 90s when I was still in bands. I was that way, you know. I was a control freak and I didn't accept anything. And I really had to learn to find out that other people were better than me. And if they are, you know, you should let them do their own thing. And basically, I started learning that when I worked for Ayreon, because the first two Ayreon albums, I still wanted exactly the way I wanted it, you know. But then with with third Ayreon album, you work with people like Fish, you know, and like with Anneke, and they do something way better than I could ever thought of, you know. And then you have to realize it's not about what I want, it's about the result, you know.
Yeah.
Is the result going to be better if we not do what I want? Then you should do that. And that's a big step, you know. For me, that was a big step because I was very much, and I still am, a control freak. But yeah, you need a bit of experience to be able to do that.
But that's how you grow as well,
Yeah,
by accepting that, other people's ideas can be as good or better than yours, and
totally.
there's nothing wrong with that. I don't like to take orders from no one, but sometimes I need to,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I think I know better, but I don't, and
yeah.
I need that person to tell me no, you should do that way, and they're correct, and I accept it. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
and just going quickly to the live beneath the waves, on the theater where you guys played, on the venue, you guys did a special surround sound for that. How did that work out? How was the feedback from? Because it's not something that it's done obviously normally in venues. You did specifically for that
Right.
to have a different mix, like a surround mix for the crowd. How was the feedback from that and the experience for you to work with
Um,
different?
the experience was amazing for me because we did the rehearsals, you know, and I was in the venue. I could hear all the sounds coming from all, and I was like, whoa, whoa, amazing, you know. But the response was not good. There were a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine who were in the audience. First thing I would ask, how was the surround sound? Huh? What? I didn't notice it. Or oh yeah, yeah, with the guitars, when the guitars went all around the venue, that's the only point they heard, and the whole show was full of surround effects and storm coming from there and rain coming from there and keyboards, you know, and people missed it. They just missed it. They just didn't hear it, and I don't know if it's maybe they were in the wrong spot in the venue,
Yeah,
or but my guess is there was just too much happening.
yeah,
You know, we had the lasers going, we had the LED screens going, we had the pyro going, the explosions, and of course we had 20 singers on stage. You know, it was like then this singer came on, that singer came on, and there was so much happening that people, maybe 90% of the people didn't even notice the surround sound. So we won't do that again.
Yeah.
It was because it was very expensive. You know,
Yeah.
you have to, you know, first make all the files, then you have to get the whole system to do it, and of course you have to hang uh, 20, 25 speakers in the venue. You know, it was crazy expensive. And I think in the end, it unfortunately it wasn't worth it. Maybe if people would have sat down, you know, and it would have been like a sort of like a theater thing, or like in the cinema, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you were saying that. Probably if people were sitting and just, focusing, because
Right.
a show, it's not like a normal rock show. It's theater as well, and probably people need to be sitting and just try to appreciate everything without, just moving around.
Yeah.
You
Right.
go for a
Right. Yeah.
drink. No, I'm going for a drink
Yeah.
here, and kind of lose the focus. I think you need, obviously there are people who are probably focused on the show most of the
That's
time
it.
anyway.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's the same. Maybe it's the same with movies. I'm thinking now. You know, you go to a movie. Of course, with a movie, you have Dolby Atmos. You know, you got sounds from everywhere. Maybe 90% of the people don't notice it either. I mean, maybe they feel it, but they don't notice it. If you ask them afterwards about it, they can't tell you what it was. But
that's a problem for us audiophiles that love, the best sound possible.
I know.
Appreciate that, and then all of a
I
sudden,
know, and it's every time I make a 5.1 mix at home, it's like, whoa, you know, I got the five speakers around me, and it's so cool, especially with my music, with all the effects and all the voices, you know, and it comes from suddenly you have all that space to put your music in, and then I realize how few people are going to listen to that 5.1, because you need five speakers in your room, you need the whole system, you know. There's not many people who will actually listen to it, and that's frustrating, you know, because then I have to go back from 5.1 to stereo, and it's like, oh my god, this is so flat, you know. It's terrible.
I understand that perfectly, because I love to hear music. We talked about it with Apple Music having the Dolby Atmos thing, even though it's not perfect and it's not the best, like having like a sound system at home and listening to proper mixes, like when Steven Wilson does that for some classic records, and
Right.
listen with a proper sound system, it's like, you can hear.
I know.
And when people just freaking prefer like a stereo mix, probably some people think it's fucking mono, they don't know the difference of that.
Well, the worst thing is it's not even a stereo mix anymore, you know. This is the way people listen, you know, on their phones. And how does it sound on the phone, you know? That's something we're doing now with mixing. It's like, how does it sound on the phone? Cling, 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 cling. You know? Because that's how 80% of the people are going to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating when you know how good it can be, you know?
Yeah, but, unfortunately, like I was saying, Apple Music, they try with spatial audio to make those, Atmos mixes come
Right.
out. Obviously, you can only hear properly when it comes to pop artists, because metal artists, even when they have, I was talking to Slash a couple of years ago, and his album was on Dolby Atmos mix, and he said, like, it's not really a Dolby Atmos mix. It's only like 3 or 4% or something of the full capacity of the mix. What you hear is just really a tiny bit of the potential of an Atmos mix. And I was like, so why don't you just talk to the label and put like the effort?
It's a big job. It's a big job. I do it myself. That's why I have 5.1 mixes, but a label would not invest in it, you know.
Yeah.
If you have some company do that, it will cost you way more than you will sell, you know. So yeah, even for someone like Slash, maybe.
Yeah. But But I appreciate the 5.1 mixes. I get like when Camelot released that live DVD. I was talking with Thomas, the guitar player, and I told him I was very frustrated that it was just like a stereo mix. And I was like, how can you record a show with like a great show with so many guests and do a proper release and just have a stereo mix? And he told me that most people just listen to stereo mixes.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. But I will keep doing it, because I don't have to get paid. I don't have to pay myself to do it. So I'll do it, and just because for me, it's a kick to do it. It's even for myself to listen to it and like, oh, this is what you can do, and I do it for people like you, who really enjoy it. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
it's frustrating to do have so much work into making something sound so good, and then people won't appreciate it to the max.
No, yeah, I know.
And with Plan 9, obviously the band is going to tour, play some shows. You're not going to be involved in it, or are you? What's the idea for Plan 9?
No. First thing I said to Robert, I will not be involved. So I will come to the first show, and that's about it, and I will sign some albums, and I will support the band. But I won't be on stage, for the reason that we both know.
Yeah. But it's cool to see at least you record the album, bringing that to life after so many years, and giving a chance for those songs to be performed live. Because I believe, even though an artist records in the studio, the true purpose of music is to be played to a live audience.
I know, and the live band is amazing. It's got Ed on drums, and then you already know, like, okay, that can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And you have Marcel Singer, who I think is one of the best guitar players in the world on guitar. And so I already heard a few rehearsal tapes, and it's going to be amazing. So it'll be nice to, like you say, to see these songs come alive on stage.
Yeah, I think that's where we're talking about Deep Purple, and we talk this a lot. Deep Purple live were just phenomenal. And those songs live were so much better than in the studio.
Absolutely. That's why Made in Japan was so amazing. It sounded better than Machine Head. And that's where it all started for me.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right. Arjen, thank you very much for your time. I know in a couple of weeks' time, as you said, there will probably be more news on music from you. And we expect that like in a few weeks' time, you get the bug for writing new music again. And,
I hope so.
Something start to comes out. And
I hope so.
It might be an Ayreon record, Star One, a solo record. Who knows?
Never know.
All right, Arjen, thank you very much for your time. All the best, and look forward for more music from you as always. And
cool.
Pleasure to talk with you. All right,
we'll talk again next year, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, and hope to see you soon. All right,
Bye.
Bye. Bye.